In this day and age that we're currently living in, there's this amount of pressure that a lot of us tend to feel of being this perfect person, especially when we're looking through the lens of multiple people through social media. You know, the thing about social media that in reality we really aren't supposed to be seeing these many people in our lifetime. We're seeing people all around the world, Europe, Asia, North America, South America, all around the world. And a lot of the times we see these people with expensive cars, jewelry, money, yachts, all these like expensive things. And it's things that we yearn for and that we just generally want. We kind of brainwash ourselves and think, oh, this is normal. Then we try to compare ourselves and then we kind of bring ourselves down because we start to make these unrealistic standards for ourselves. We make these comparisons on our lives with these people that we see on social media, and then we tend to bring ourselves down and we consider ourselves failures sometimes. The thing about it though is that, we aren't. We distort our reality with these beliefs. And look, I'm 25 years old, and even I struggle with this concept. When I was younger, maybe around 15 years old, when I said, hey, when I'm 25, I'm going to have a house, I'm going to, own a house, be married, make a lot of money after college, and, just be generally happy. And did all of that come true? No, in this economy, you step outside, you could barely even afford like a Happy Meal. You step outside, you're already broke. Like it's this in this economy, it's impossible to do anything. My last few relationships, I barely even like make it last for a couple weeks. Is it my fault? Probably, but you know, everything that I pictured in my life, it hasn't come true yet. So whenever I see all these people on social media, having the life that I was expecting when I was young, I sometimes even think to myself, am I a failure? In a way, sometimes, yeah, I think I'm a failure sometimes. But in reality, that's what I think. It doesn't really define of who I am. And if you have that mindset, it shouldn't define of how you are as well. There's so many times that, I failed. I could give you so many examples. In high school, I wasn't the smartest person. I was struggling in school, especially when I compared myself with my friends and other people. I was struggling. And, especially during the time of the SAT, I'm not sure if that's still like a relevant thing nowadays. I don't think that's a requirement for a lot of colleges. I didn't even do like the greatest on that. And when it was time to apply to colleges, the grades that I had, especially with my SAT, I didn't get into like a lot of colleges that I wanted to get into. I got into something, but at the end of the day, it's not what I wanted at that moment. And during that time, I felt like a failure. Another example I could give you is that the profession I currently work in, for 4 or 5 years before the job I have now, I was going to interview after interview, you know, just getting rejected multiple times. I live in New York, so I was even going outside my state to like Maryland, Connecticut, all around, driving multiple hours, doing going to these interviews, doing the process, going back home, going back to the state, and even then still getting rejected, not hearing back from them. During that time, I felt like a failure. I just wanted to quit. The day, look, I'm still here. And you have to have that mindset as well. If you're going through similar struggles, you're still here, okay? We're both still here. So at the end of the day, if we're still here, you're not a failure. The world that we're currently living in, it's the hardest it's ever been. It's a hard time to get a job. It's a hard time to be financially stable. These times, and a lot of you guys might be in a rough patch, just know you're going to get through it. If you're still getting up in the morning, if you're still if you're still going to school, if you're still trying to get that job, if you're still working that hard job that you want to quit, still taking care of your family, anything, friends, taking care of anyone that you care about, you aren't failing. You know, you might be having your worst day ever currently. You might have failed a test that you studied so hard for so many weeks. You might have screwed up paperwork at your job that, you know, your boss is yelling at you, your coworkers hate you. You might have not gotten that job that you really have wanted, or you might be feeling that this time that you're doing in college is not worth it because you haven't been able to, you know, you don't see anything in your future, or you haven't even put your foot into anything in your field. Just know you haven't failed. Don't let that discourage you. This isn't the position you currently want to be in. This might not be where you want to be, either emotionally, mentally, physically. But there's this saying that I always say to myself that might help you as well, is that in a year from now, you're going to be in a different place. That could either be mindset, environment, happier, anything like that. You're going to be in a different place, and you're going to be better off than how you currently are right now. You're in a slump, but you will find success. At the end of the day, you have to keep pushing forward and never think of yourself as a failure. You will fail. You will fail multiple times before you will find success. But at the end of the day, everything will be okay. Like I was mentioning before, the people that you're seeing on social media currently and comparing yourself with, you don't know how their lifestyle is. You don't know if they're truly this successful. You don't know if they're truly happy. You don't know if everything that they're saying is true. All right. And even for those that, you know, that are actually successful, things like that on social media, you're comparing yourself with these people today, but tomorrow they're going to be dealing with their own struggles. Okay. Even if they have failures, they're not going to portray those failures. Tomorrow, who knows, they might become broke, and they're not going to show those struggles. So you're comparing yourself with people that are not showing their true life with people. I'm not trying to pray those people's downfall, but you're comparing yourself with people that you don't know what's truly going on in their life. You have to go your own pace. No matter what, you have to go your own pace and never feel like you're left behind. You're doing great. You're doing amazing. Don't let that discourage you, and never feel like a failure. So I really just hope that this video helps somebody. You know, for me, you know, I've been going through like a lot of, like, you know, slumps recently. And at the end of the day, I always have to remind myself that, you know, I'm not failing. I'm at the place that I need to be. And I wanted to just share this because at the end of the day, I feel like everyone needs to hear that you're doing good. You just have to go your own pace, and that you're doing the best that you can. All right. Like, I hope everyone has a great day. This is my first video, and the audio probably sucks. I'm like recording right now in my like closet because I was like trying to do it on my freaking PC, but that wasn't working out. So I'm just doing it on my phone. So, but if you guys really, you know, resonated with this message, you know, please, if you can, just leave a like, subscribe. I'm gonna try to do like more videos like this. And, you know, if you have any questions, or you have any, like, you know, advice that you want, you know, just leave something on the comments, all right? I'll try to, you know, give advice to a lot of people that I have. Maybe I could, like, answer some comments in, like, you know, future videos. You know, at the end of the day, we're all humans. We need to be helping each other. You know, no matter what, we have to help each other throughout life. Like I said, we were starting to say before, we're not perfect. So no matter what, try to help each other. But remember that at the end of the day, something bad could have happened yesterday. Something bad could happen today. And tomorrow, something bad could happen, okay? But at the end of the day, well, not at the end of the day, but at the end of it all, you're going to be fine. So I really hope you guys have a great day or night or whatever time you're watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys. Bye.